Your book of the month.
Okay, so my book of the month is, I think, a very aptly titled book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. So it's appropriate to some of the discussion. And I think, Yankee, for you, I'm just thinking of your book buzz concept. That would be a very punchy message. So what has got the organisation to where it is, or the SME, will it get you to where you want to get to? It needs something else. In this book, it's Marshall Goldsmith. I know some people have come across Marshall. He's in his 20 plus book production line. He has some powerful, simple stuff. It's very much about helping successful people. Of course, everyone would like to think they're successful, become even more successful. So it's well marketed, and he is from California, but he's of the world. And he has some of the things that I would say I would commend why it's worth dipping into with family, friends, work colleagues, or self-reflection. It's got sort of 20 habits of successful people, but who could become more successful. So he's sharing an awful lot of his observations, real examples. He's worked with over 80 of the Fortune 500 CEOs, so he has been around. He earns his money that way. But he's also very much into sharing the insights. So, I mean, some of the habits are ones like, when you're successful, you're driven to win and win and win. So, I mean, if you just reflect even on some of the arguments, the discussion, the debate here earlier, in your own head, I mean, how much of some of the debate was fueled by your need to win as opposed to your need to just...
Is it a reference to Garfield, is it?
I'm just posing the question, the self-reflection time. No, but it's, no, what he's got in here are nuggets that make you stop and look at yourself. The need to listen more. I mean, there's ones that you could say, yeah, that doesn't shock or surprise me. But they're very punchy, simple messages with great examples. And it, you know, there's so much in it. It's, I don't know how many pages, I'll tell you now, but every page is action-packed. I mean, there's 236 pages. It just makes you stop and think and debate and see, does it resonate with you? As I've used it with my teenagers in a sort of, let's get a discussion going, as well as it's perfect for coaching, because that's what a lot of this comes from, where he's an executive coach.
I'm an owner manager of an SME. Would I read that book?
Yes.
And what would I get out of it?
You get at least one brilliant idea.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one. Right, so what I'm going to share is what he calls feed forward. Now, as opposed to feedback, which has its own role. In feed forward, his term is we're looking to the future. So, Ron or anyone here, I give you the simple example of how he does it. If a group of owner managers, what's your biggest challenge at the moment? So everyone writes down the biggest challenge. And he then sets up a sort of fast forward speed dating, as I would call it, or give a tip, get a tip, or feed forward, which he calls it. So what you've got to do then for a minute is, everybody has written down the biggest challenge, and if they can come up with something to address that, it'll make a significant behavioural difference in their life. So I want to be a better listener, could be. I write it down, and then the facilitator, if you want to run SMEs together, says, okay, I want you now to find next person beside you, and you've 1 minute, here are the rules, 1 minute to share your challenge, ask for 2 ideas. If there's 2 ideas, write them down. Simply say thank you, nothing else. Not a good idea, not a bad idea, no language, thank you. Then that person shares back with you their challenge, and off the top of your head, whether you're an expert or an amateur, if you've got anything to contribute, give the 1 or 2 ideas. You write them down and then move again. So you get another person and you repeat the process. You end up with a list, of X number of ideas. Time is called, could be after 10 minutes, 12 minutes, keeping it punchy fast. And then what you then do is the facilitator says, okay, if you've adhered to the rules, the more people you got around, the better, because you've got a lot of ideas. Then you can look at the ideas to say, of all those ideas, which 1 or 2 am I going to use starting from tomorrow? And then there's other nuggets. But that's how an SME could benefit. And that's how SMEs, Ron, are benefiting. Because I know now this has been shared, this has been used successfully.